The Big Bang Theory, cast then and now. Fans are shocked by how they've changed. Kaley Cuoco. Kaley Cuoco was only 21 when The Big Bang Theory debuted in 2007.
Had a feeling we'd have a talk like this sooner or later.
Born November 30th, 1985. She became the heart of the show as Penny, the aspiring actress with big dreams and an even bigger personality. Back then, her bright eyes, sunlit hair, and effortless charm made her feel like the girl next door America instantly fell in love with. She brought warmth into a world of equations and awkward genius. Now in 2026, at 40, the transformation is subtle but undeniable.
We're so excited, midweek, we're gonna go on a canyon swing.
Her hair noticeably darker than ever at the Critics' Choice Awards, 2026 frames a face that carries a few fine lines around the eyes, small traces of time that don't diminish her presence but deepen it. She still radiates that familiar energy, but it's no longer carefree. It's controlled, confident, and self-assured. Professionally, Cuoco continues to evolve. She took on the lead role in Vanished MGM Plus, released February 1st, 2026, showing a darker, more dramatic side of her acting range.
Only thing that will get her to go to sleep.
Right.
So she's...
At the same time, she's expanding behind the camera, producing projects like Kansas City Star, proving she's no longer just the face of a hit show, but a driving force in storytelling. And that's where the contrast truly lands. The then and now isn't about losing youth, it's about gaining depth. Kaley Cuoco hasn't faded from the spotlight. She's reshaped it around who she has become. Jim Parsons. Jim Parsons. The man behind Sheldon Cooper was 34 years old when The Big Bang Theory first aired in 2007. Born on March 24, 1973, he quickly became the intellectual heartbeat of the show.
No, Princess Panchali from The Monkey and...
With his razor-sharp timing and the now iconic catchphrase, Bazinga Parsons didn't just play Sheldon, he defined him. 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and a Golden Globe. Later, he had secured his place in television history. But nearly 2 decades on, the contrast is striking. As of March 2026, Parsons is 53. The once boyish face of Sheldon has given way to silver strands of hair.
He talks about this amazing, and all they say is you're not allowed to look at it.
And fine lines etched around his eyes. Subtle reminders of years spent in the spotlight, years of performance pressure and personal growth. It's not a fall from grace, but a visible passage of time. Still, Parsons hasn't slowed down. After narrating and executive producing Young Sheldon until its conclusion in 2024, he returned to the stage, taking on the role of Ruth in Titanic, on Broadway, bold, unexpected, and far removed from the rigid world of theoretical physics. Notably, he has also made it clear he cannot imagine a Big Bang Theory reboot. And that's the point. What we're seeing isn't decline, it's reality. The aging that some call shocking is simply life unfolding in plain sight. Johnny Galecki. Johnny Galecki was 32 when The Big Bang Theory premiered in 2007. Born April 30th, 1975. He brought Leonard Hofstadter to life with a quiet warmth that balanced the chaos around him.
We don't have an appointment. We're just fans of...
Audiences already knew him from Roseanne, but Leonard became something more, a relatable, steady presence at the center of the show's whirlwind of personalities. Now approaching 51 in 2026, Galecki's transformation reflects a different kind of story. His face appears more defined with a stronger jawline, while his hair has thinned and turned noticeably gray. The youthful, slightly anxious look of Leonard has softened into something calmer, more grounded.
And they are not in the business. In fact, I think they're quite...
His gentle smile remains, but it carries a sense of distance, less about performance, more about peace. Unlike many of his former co-stars, Galecki has chosen to step away from the spotlight. He focuses on his private life with his wife Morgan, and their 2 children rarely making public appearances. It's a striking contrast to the constant visibility he once had during the show's peak years. And that contrast says everything. What some might interpret as aging is, in truth, a shift in priorities. Johnny Galecki hasn't disappeared, he's simply chosen a quieter chapter. The change isn't about losing something, It's about letting go of the spotlight and embracing a life that feels more personal, more real. Mayim Bialik. Mayim Bialik stepped into The Big Bang Theory in 2009 at age 34, bringing Amy Farrah Fowler to life with a rare blend of intelligence and quiet charm. Born December 12, 1975.
Literal, I share your aversion to soiled hosiery.
She was already known to audiences from Blossom, but what set her apart was something no script could fake: a real PhD in neuroscience. That authenticity gave Amy depth, turning what could have been a side character into one of the show's emotional anchors. Now in 2026, at age 50, the passage of time is visible in more subtle human ways. Her face is fuller, softer, with faint silver strands beginning to weave through her still dark hair. Yet her warm, knowing smile remains unchanged, the same one that made Amy so endearing.
And Bill Prady, our creator, executive producer at the audition, said,
If anything, she feels more grounded, more real. Professionally, Bialik hasn't slowed down. In February 2026, she signed with Range Media Partners, signaling continued momentum in her career. Her podcast, Bialik Breakdown, is still actively releasing episodes, including one as recent as March 27, 2026, proof that her voice continues to resonate. And this is where the deeper truth lies. What some might label as aging is in reality evolution. Mayim Bialik hasn't faded, she's expanded, carrying her intelligence and presence into new chapters that go far beyond sitcom fame. Simon Helberg. Simon Helberg was just 26 when The Big Bang Theory premiered in 2007. Born December 9, 1980, he brought Howard Wolowitz to life as the flamboyant, tight-pants-wearing mama's boy with an ego far bigger than his credentials.
It is good to talk to you too.
Back then, his youthful face and high-energy delivery made Howard both ridiculous and strangely lovable. A character audiences laughed at, then slowly learned to care about. Fast forward to March 2026, and Helberg is now 45. The change is undeniable. Fine lines have formed around his eyes. His hair shows touches of gray, and the once boyish look has sharpened into something more defined, more serious. The transformation isn't dramatic. It's natural, but it reflects nearly 2 decades of life work and growth.
Just this tiny, tiny person, and the thing was
What's even more telling is the shift in his career. Helberg is stepping into deeper, more complex roles, including portraying the maladjusted genius Martin Pfister in AMC's The Audacity, set to premiere in April 2026. It's a far cry from Howard's comedic antics, signaling a deliberate move toward layered dramatic storytelling. And that's where the real story lies. The contrast between then and now may seem jarring at first glance, but it's not decline, it's progression. Simon Helberg hasn't lost what made him memorable. He's simply outgrown it, evolving into something quieter, sharper, and undeniably more human. Melissa Rauch. Melissa Rauch joined The Big Bang Theory in 2009 at age 29, quickly turning Bernadette Rostenkowski into one of the show's most unforgettable characters. Born June 23, 1980.
Gosh, Amy, I'm sensing a little hostility.
She contrasted her petite appearance with a surprisingly fierce personality, and that signature high-pitched voice became instantly iconic. Back then, her energy was sharp, fast, and often explosive, adding a new dynamic to the group. Now in 2026, at 45, Rauch's appearance reflects a different phase of life. Her face is fuller, carrying the softness of motherhood, while her smile lines have deepened less about punchlines, more about lived experience. The intensity is still there, but it feels grounded, calmer, more assured.
And like a big coat, and we'd walk in.
She no longer looks like the young scientist trying to prove herself. She looks like someone who already has. Her career has continued steadily. The Night Court revival, where she played a leading role, wrapped in 2025 and began streaming on Netflix in February 2026, introducing her to a new generation of viewers. Beyond acting, Rauch remains active behind the scenes, writing scripts and contributing voice work, showing a versatility that goes far beyond sitcom performance. And that's the real shift. What once felt like youthful energy has evolved into something more sustainable, more layered. Melissa Rauch hasn't lost her spark. It's simply changed form, becoming quieter, deeper, and in many ways more enduring. Wil Wheaton. Wil Wheaton entered The Big Bang Theory in 2007 at age 35, not as a fictional character, but as a heightened version of himself, sharp, sarcastic, and perfectly willing to poke fun at his own legacy. Born July 29, 1972, he was already a familiar face to audiences from Stand By Me and his role as Wesley Crusher in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Hi, Sheldon. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, Will.
Back then, he carried a youthful edge, blending nostalgia with a playful sense of self-awareness that made his cameos unforgettable. Now, in 2026, at 53, Wheaton's appearance tells a different story, one shaped by time and experience. His once dark curly hair has turned fully silver, framing a face that feels richer, more reflective. There's a sense that every line carries a memory, every expression a chapter lived. He doesn't try to look younger, and that's exactly what makes his presence so authentic. Yet his connection with fans remains as strong as ever.
There were kids in audition rooms.
In February 2026, he appeared at Pensacon, drawing crowds who still see him as a defining figure in geek culture. Decades after his early fame, he continues to embrace that identity, not as a relic, but as something evolving. And that's the deeper truth. Wil Wheaton hasn't aged out of relevance, he's grown into it. The years are visible, yes, but so is the legacy. Kevin Sussman. Kevin Sussman was 36 when The Big Bang Theory began in 2007. Born December 4, 1970. He portrayed Stuart Bloom, the awkward, soft-spoken comic book store owner who often hovered on the edge of the group.
Yeah, I'd like to, but I'm a little tight on funds.
Back then, his thin frame, hesitant voice, and slightly lost expression made Stuart feel like the most fragile character in the room, and in many ways the most human. Now, in 2026, at age 55, Sussman looks noticeably different. His hair has turned largely gray, his beard is fuller, and the lines across his face feel deeper, like quiet markers of time rather than flaws. There's a worn, reflective quality to his appearance, as if every wrinkle carries a piece of the last 19 years. He doesn't look like the same uncertain man behind the comic shop anymore. He looks like someone who has lived through something.
She comes into the comic book store.
And fittingly, his career mirrors that shift. Sussman is stepping into the spotlight with the HBO Max spin-off, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, 2026, reuniting with John Ross Bowie. It's a surprising but meaningful evolution from background presence to leading man. What stands out isn't that he's aged, but how visible that journey has become. Kevin Sussman now carries time on his face, and somehow it makes him more compelling than ever. John Ross Bowie. John Ross Bowie was 36 when The Big Bang Theory premiered in 2007. Born May 30th, 1971, he turned Barry Kripke into one of the show's most memorable recurring characters. With his unmistakable lisp and mischievous sense of humor, Kripke wasn't just a rival to Sheldon, he was a scene stealer.
If you have any delusions about entering up against my Wobot, the Quipke Quippler.
Back then, Bowie's energy felt sharp and playful, perfectly matching the chaotic brilliance of the show's early years. Now, in 2026, at 54, the passage of time is clearly visible. His hair has turned gray, and the lines on his face are more defined, but there's something unchanged beneath it all, that same sly, knowing smile. It's the kind of expression that suggests he's still in on the joke, still enjoying the moment, just with a bit more perspective. And fittingly, Bowie hasn't left Kripke behind. He's set to reprise the role in the 2026 spin-off, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe.
Interesting is that there is a lot of dispute over this very...
Reuniting with Kevin Sussman and bringing that familiar dynamic back to life. It's a return that feels both nostalgic and evolved, because that's the real story here. The years may have altered the surface, but the essence remains. John Ross Bowie hasn't lost what made him stand out. He's simply carrying it forward with time, written openly across his face. Laura Spencer. Laura Spencer joined The Big Bang Theory in 2010 at just 24 years old. Born May 8, 1986, she brought Emily Sweeney to life as Raj's unconventional girlfriend, sharp-witty, and known for her dark sense of humor that set her apart from the rest. Back then, her youthful appearance and slightly mysterious aura made Emily feel unpredictable, adding a fresh dynamic to the later seasons of the show. Now, in 2026, as she approaches 40, Spencer's transformation reflects a quieter, more refined evolution. Her features have matured into a more elegant, composed beauty, less edgy, but more self-assured. The playful darkness that once defined her character has softened into something more balanced, yet still distinct. She carries herself with a calm confidence that comes only with time and experience. While she may not dominate headlines, Spencer has remained active in television, continuing to take on roles that showcase her versatility. For longtime fans, she represents a different kind of legacy. Not the loud central presence, but the memorable spark that lingers long after the scene ends. And that's the deeper takeaway. The shift from then to now isn't about losing what made her stand out. It's about transformation. Laura Spencer hasn't faded from memory. She's simply evolved, leaving behind a lasting impression that feels both familiar and quietly enduring. From fresh-faced scientists to seasoned lives shaped by nearly 2 decades, the cast of The Big Bang Theory reflects something deeper than a simple then and now. Wrinkles, gray hair, quieter energy, these changes are real, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. But are they signs of decline, or proof of lives fully lived? For fans of legendary TV memories, this isn't just nostalgia, it's a mirror. The question is, when you look at them today, do you see actors who've aged horribly, or people who've simply become real,